everyone, I am Jane, your online English tutor. Let us learn English today. I know learning English needs a lot of time and effort. We need to learn grammar to construct correct ideas and sentences. We also need to give focus on word pronunciation and fluency for correct delivery. And our grammar topic for today is all about relative clause. But before that, let us define what is a clause. A clause is a group of related words that contains a subject and a verb. It may form part of the sentence or the complete sentence itself. If the sentence does not give a complete thought, it is a dependent clause. But if the sentence gives a complete idea, it is called the main clause. Relative clause is a dependent clause. Now, let us define relative clause. Relative clause must connect to a main clause so that it will give a complete idea. It is used to give additional information about something without starting another sentence. It generally modifies a noun or a noun phrase, and it usually begins with a relative pronoun, such as which, that, who, whom, and whose, or relative adverbs such as where, when, and why. It also functions as an adjective because it answers the questions what kind, how many, or which one. That is why it is also called an adjective clause. Relative clause is divided into two types, restrictive and non-restrictive. Before we discuss the two types of relative clause, let us first discuss the relative pronouns and relative adverbs. Who is used to substitute subject nouns or pronouns such as he, she, we, and they. Whom is used to substitute object nouns or pronouns such as him, her, us, and them. Whose is used to substitute possessive nouns or pronouns such as his, hers, our, and their. That and which can be used as a substitute for subject or object nouns or pronouns. But for the relative pronoun that, it is only used for restrictive relative clause. Now for the relative adverbs. When refers to a time expression. Where refers to a place. Why refers to a reason. Now, let us discuss the patterns of relative clause. There are three patterns for constructing relative clause. Number 1, relative pronoun plus subject plus verb. Number 2, relative adverb plus subject plus verb. Number 3, relative pronoun as a subject plus verb. An example for number 1, which you lost. Which is the relative pronoun, you is the subject, lost is the verb. If we use it in a sentence, did you find the money which you lost? Number 2, why we argued. Why is the relative adverb, we is the subject, argued is the verb. If we use it in a sentence, your arrogance is the reason why we argued at the party. Number 3, that taste. That is the relative pronoun as a subject, taste is the verb. If we use it in a sentence, I don't like food that tastes salty. Now let us try to use relative pronouns in a sentence. Who? She is the girl who lives next door. Which? She can't hear, which surprised me. Whose? She is the student whose brother is a famous actor. Whom? He was called by the president, whom I thought the janitor. That? I like the food that you brought to the party. Now let us discuss the two types of relative clause. The first one is restrictive relative clause or defining relative clause. This clause gives detailed information defining a general term or expression. They are not put in commas. Most of my examples a while ago were used as a restrictive relative clause. But here are some other examples for this clause. Number 1, a doctor is someone who works in a hospital. Number 2, she is the girl who lives next door. As you notice, I did not use any commas. Now, the second type of relative clause is non-restrictive clause or non-defining relative clause. It gives additional information on something but does not define it, and they are usually put in commas. Non-restrictive relative clause cannot modify any, every, or indefinite pronouns such as anyone, everyone, and no one. An example for this one is number 1, Einstein, who was born in Germany, was famous for his theory of relativity. As you can see, I used 2 commas. From the beginning of the clause and the end, who was born in Germany. The second sentence, she is the student whose mother works as a teacher at the school, won the international quiz bee competition. As you can see, the relative clause for that one is whose mother works as a teacher at the school, and I put 2 commas again from the beginning up to the end of the clause. I hope you were able to learn something about relative clause. I hope you were able to determine what is a relative pronoun and what is a relative adverb, and the difference of restrictive and non-restrictive relative clause. Restrictive relative clause has no commas. Non-restrictive relative clause has 2 commas from the beginning and the end of the clause. So, that's it for today. Have a good day, everyone.